In the year 1999 and 7 months, from the sky will come the great king of terror. He will bring back to life the great king of the Mongols. Before and after, war reigns happily.
They're likely to limit their involvement to their non-combat anti-piracy, anti-terrorism naval forces. That's because China is unwilling to be drawn into the Iran-US conflict. And what essentially China wants is to be able to showcase their destroyer, the Xi-Ning, in these naval drills, and to also potentially sell weapons to Iran. So there's an economic aspect, there's a geopolitical power rebalancing aspect, and obviously China is the world's largest importer of crude oil. It wants to diversify this crude oil sources from Russia and Saudi Arabia to also Iran, and in participating in these drills, it's also signaling to the world that it wants to protect these waterways, which is essentially China's lifeline to the Middle Eastern oil.
Now we ask you just to listen to what Nostradamus has to say about the devastation of a nuclear war, a third world war. His description is so vivid, it needs no interpretation.
So the devastation spreads across Europe and even into Egypt and Constantinople. But it does not stop there. The United States is also involved, as we can see from a quatrain which many experts agree refers to New York as the new city.
Garden of the world near the new city, in the way of the man-made mountains, shall be seized on and plunged into a ferment, being forced to drink sulphurous, poisoned waters.
The man-made mountains, an obvious description of modern skyscrapers. Further to that is the reference to the fire in the 45th degree latitude, which is very close to the position of New York City.
The sky will burn at 45 degrees. Fire approaches the great new city. Immediately a huge scattered flame leaps up.
In answer to the question where, it's likely that most of the world will be involved, hopefully some a little less than those specifically described by Nostradamus. Which brings us to the question of who will survive. To answer this, we need to remember Hiroshima and try to comprehend the devastation of more than 20 years of nuclear holocaust. Obviously, many of us would have no chance whatsoever. But there is light at the end of the tunnel. Nostradamus does tell us the war will end, and that the West will ultimately win due to an unexpected alliance, an alliance between the USA and Russia. Now, this may seem far-fetched, but let's examine the evidence given by Nostradamus.
When those of the Arctic pole shall be united together, there shall be in the east great fear and trembling. One shall be newly elected that shall bear the brunt. Rhodes, Constantinople shall be dyed with barbarian blood.
Those of the Arctic pole can only mean Russia and the US. As we see here at the Bering Strait, the two continents are at their closest point in the Arctic Circle. Alaska, part of the US, and Russia. And he goes on to say, in the east, great fear and trembling. So he's suggesting here that these two northern powers will unite against the east. And there's a further quatrain to support this. One day the two great masters shall be friends. Their great powers shall be increased. So, after many years of fighting, it seems that Russia herself may become uncertain